I'm very excited for our upcoming speakers, including our next speaker, Achim Himmelreich. He's the head of Digital Retail Center of Excellence at Capgemini, Germany. And he has 20 years of experience in the consulting field. Also, since 2016, he's the director of digital transformation at Capgemini Germany. And he's the VP at the German Association of the Digital Economy. Now today he'll speak to you about why, by using voice, we'll gain back our human touch. So please help me welcome to the stage with a big round of applause, Achim Himmelreich. Thanks for coming.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for the invitation. You've read it, conversational commerce, the next big thing in commerce, and I know what you might think. There's a consultant who's trying to coin the next buzzword, or maybe riding on the buzzword that has been coined by another consultant. But all I want to achieve today is to prove that it's true, that conversational commerce is a big revolution. And I will show you two numbers, two fact-based numbers, empirical numbers, that will lead you hopefully to the insight that there's something new rolling into the world of commerce and consumer brands. But first of all, I have some simple questions. Why did we use this device for so long, although it's so hard to find the right character and number? You know, I'm talking about the BlackBerry. Why did we use it for so many years? Does anybody have a suggestion? Maybe you would say it's been the best device at the time and you could receive and send emails. There's some truth in it. But the substantial truth is because Steve Jobs hadn't invented the multi-touch display at that time. And why do we still use multi-touch so extensively? Exactly. Why do we still use it? Because voice recognition has not been accurate enough, but that is changing. And that's something you have to reflect upon, because for many decades, we've been restricted by technology, and then we took the technology for granted, that we have to type characters into some boards, keyboards, and stuff like that, although human voice is the most natural interaction. And that will change many things. That's the way the consumer brand and retail brand world looks like right now. And it remembers me back to the 90s, in the first textbook at university in marketing, first lesson, the customer is king. But when I went to the department store and asked for some things, well, I didn't feel like a king. What changed today, with the empowerment of digital technology, especially the smart natives, those kids behave like kings. And that's the result. For brick and mortar stores, shopping is core. It's no fun, 40%. And in stores, you can find things. There's no guidance. There's long queues. They're stealing your time. The thing that I didn't like at all is to go to a DIY store. When something at home is broken, you're looking for a special screw, and then asking the guys there how to find it. That's horrible. And so it's no wonder that the Net Promoter Score, in marketing terms, goes down a quarter. And on the other side, online is booming. There are no queues. There are helpful things to find the things that you're looking for. That's what is happening. And you know all those buzzwords. Future consumer happiness has to be fun, has to be convenient, simple, best value. So it's all about user experience, and which is pretty easy to understand, but it's hard to implement it in the back end. And those are the solutions that we need: connected products, frictionless store, last mile collaboration, digital in-store experiences. It's easy to understand, again, but it's hard to implement it. That's what companies like ours do. And so we need streaming supply, autonomous retailing, service experience. Maybe there are some more buzzwords, but right now, there's one more, conversational commerce. And what we did at Capgemini is that we conducted 2 studies, one together with the MIT and then Intel, about time, it's called Time to Talk. And I will come back later to the open conversational commerce initiative that we established. And the other one is a consumer research, and I will show you some of the results in the upcoming slides. And the good messages, if you give me your business cards afterwards or come to our booth, which is easy to find right outdoor, and just look at the big Ferris wheel, and our booth is right next to it. And you can bring your business card there as well, and we will send you those reports for free. On the right, you can see the Amazon Echo product line, which is really impressive right now, and the Google Home product line. But now I'm coming to the first important number. Just look at the tablet, 20%. That's the adoption rate for the first 5 years from a tablet. 20%, very impressive. And the world record holder so far has been mobile, an impressive 286% adoption rate. And what is happening right now is that smart speakers are coming, 653%. I'm just silent, been silent for some seconds. That means that smart speakers is the fastest spreading technology in the history of mankind. Nothing more, but nothing less. And why is that the case? No, sorry, the second important number. It's a complex slide, but look at it, 95%. What is about my 95%? 95% is the average accuracy of human voice interaction. The 5% that are left are those human misunderstandings that we're all familiar with. And the red line is the accuracy of voice recognition by Google. And in 2017, Google reached the 95% accuracy, the so-called human threshold. And so we all yet now can derive that voice recognition based on artificial intelligence will become more accurate than human voice in 2018. And that is what we call a tipping point. So there are 2 numbers, the fastest spreading technology in the history of mankind and an accuracy that is better than the human threshold. So that's no wonder that we got those answers from the consumers that we asked in our survey. 30% of the consumers will use voice assistants rather than some kind of digital device. And even those who prefer to go to the brick and mortar store so far will switch to voice assistants by 31%. And why is that the case? Yeah, it's convenient. It's easy. I experience it myself, of course. I do have Alexa at home in many rooms. And at the weekends when I'm preparing a meal, because I'm on the road all week, and at the weekend my duties shift to the kitchen and I have to cook, you're using your hands to prepare the meal. And you tell Alexa, switch the radio station to your preferred radio stations where you can get the reports from the soccer game, or tell them, play Spotify, my favorite songs, or even ask some skills, like in Germany, chefkoch.de, what kind of ingredients are missing. And if I don't have them in the fridge, I can order them. It's pretty easy. And of course, my teenage kids adopted Alexa very, very quickly. And even my wife, which is some sort of technology, not phobic, but she's not that enthusiastic about new technology than I am, she found a blockbuster case that I never imagined of. She hates, like many people do, and especially women do, remote controls. And of course, the number of remote controls in our living rooms increased. And then she grabbed a remote control and tried to turn the volume down. It was the wrong one. And now she's in the living room and says, Alexa, living room, softer or louder. So that has been the use case that got her on the side of Alexa. And that's right now what is happening. From today, those people who come from physical stores and websites are shifting towards the voice channel. And there are two effects in it. The one effect is an increasing effect because we get more people into the realm of digital commerce than before, because especially elder people will figure out that voice is a natural way to communicate and to order things. They haven't bought a computer in the past because it's too complicated and they don't like computers. But with voice, something that they have been using for decades, it's very easy. And the other effect is that from different channels, like app, like brick and mortar, like e-commerce, traditional e-commerce, so to speak, many things shift to the voice realm. And of course, that means for brands and retailers, if they won't have a presence in the world of smart speakers, then a big percentage of their potential and actual customers won't be reached anymore. So their market will decrease if they don't enter the sphere of a conversational commerce strategy. And of course, when you put all that together, you will get some big numbers. And that's the addressable market for conversational commerce, calculated together with the MIT from their Auto ID lab, based on the figures and the adoption rate that we have found in the past. And of course, this has applications for all the brands and retailers out there. Of course, there's an acceleration of digital commerce, as I said before. More people will enter the sphere of digital commerce because it's that easy. But there's a decline in profit margin that goes along with the other two things, disintermediation from customers and strengthening of Amazon. Why is that the case? Oh, first, the US is ahead. I mean, when you look at the already existing conversational commerce strategies, you find two kind of corporations. All the brands have no problem with Amazon. Of course, they are not a retailer, and Amazon is an important channel. It's very omnipresent, and brands look to be everywhere where customers are. And Amazon is almost everywhere where customers are, so they go with Amazon. But if you're a retailer, you're somehow skeptic to cooperate with Amazon, because Amazon controls the interface to the customer, Amazon controls the data. That's the thing that you don't like. So retailers prefer Google. That's what we see in the US, and it's, of course, happening or starting to happen in the same year in Europe. And now we come back to the disintermediation. In traditional retail, although it has been anonymous in most of the cases, the retailer itself controlled the interface and the contact with the customer. Right now, if we look at Microsoft Cortana, Google, or Alexa, and there may be more to come, they disintermediate the customer from the retailer. And if you cooperate with those platforms, you lose somehow the control of the customer. And this is quite the opposite of what the retailer strategy right now look like, because they try, to put it in a metaphor, they try to establish a cookie in the store. When they have a cookie in the store, they can collect all the data that Amazon has been collecting for years and make the personal recommendations and all that kind of database analytics. And they won't be able to do that in conversational commerce if they go along with one of those platforms. So right now is the time to decide about the strategy in conversational commerce that would best suit your own company, because you have to look at data ownership, at loyalty, at governance, and the platforms agenda which you're cooperating with. And there's a different agenda from Google to Microsoft to Amazon. Okay, back to the Open Conversational Commerce initiative that we established together with Intel and MIT at the NRF, National Retail Federation's big show this year in January. We presented the first paper and the Time to Talk paper as well that I showed you. And there's an academic track, which is, of course, led by the MIT. Their aim is to establish open interfaces. Right now, we have a problem. You might have your diary on your iPhone, and you use Google for information because it's the best search engine, and you use Alexa for transactions, and then you ask Alexa for your next appointment. That's not compatible yet. So the MIT is looking for open standards so that it might be easy for companies and brands to plug in. But this is, of course, a big challenge, and we'll see if the MIT will be successful. And there's an ethical track as well, because voice interaction raises new ethical questions. You know, like, will my son be allowed to order beer? Can I ask Alexa for some chemical instructions? Maybe 2 chemical instructions. If you put them together, you have something that does not serve humanity. And many ethical questions regarding that field, and those will be answered by the academic track. And of course, we are leading the commercial track, that we are trying to create use cases, pilots. We already have implemented some pilots in the United States, and we started to work on pilots in Germany. You will see in the next years. So the Open Conversational Commerce Initiative is something that will accompany us, hopefully, for the next upcoming years. And when you right now start to think about your conversational commerce strategy, what are the dimensions that you have to think about? Those are the dimensions: customer experience, intelligence, business operations. Intelligence, of course, is the backbone. Conversational commerce without artificial intelligence won't simply work. But customer experience is the thing that I want to highlight, because that is something, and Alex introduced it in, just 20 minutes ago, this is where humanity comes back. The good old butler. Of course, nobody experienced personally a butler, but we know all the movies with the butlers. Of course, it has been voice dialogue with a butler. Personalized service, because he knew us very well. He was in our house and made social observations, and of course, we trusted him. Maybe the best butler is Alfred, who looked after Bruce Wayne, better known as Batman. And what we experienced in the last decades is that once, way back in the past, customer interaction has been very human. The butler, or as the German metaphor, Aunt Emma, Tante Emma, she knew everything about me and had the best recommendations. And then we had a decline in humanity. Our interaction became more and more machine interaction. And the worst thing that we have in customer interaction, of course, is when you try to call a hotline at your airline or at your cable or telco provider. That's really annoying. It's just, they're stealing your time. And right now, everything is coming back. Technology enables interaction that is based on machine and artificial intelligence to become human again, which of course makes sense. That's the way we want to interact, human, intelligent interaction. But to be honest, we are not right there. Our chief experience officer puts it in this phrase: humanity came back into shopping. That's what's happening. But we're still not there. Right now, we're somewhere in between robotic interaction and basic dialogue. Some dialogue that you have with Alexa or Google sounds somewhat technocratic or algorithmic, but that will change over the course of the next years, that we come to the personal assistant by no less than 2020, because the AI learning really happens at an exponential pace. And that's maybe I won't read the slides for all the things, but the matrix shows what you can do on the journey from the robotic question and answers towards personal assistance in all those areas, from consumer experience to business operations, etc. I'm a little more quick due to time restrictions. Maybe this as the last slide shows it, that from robotic interaction to the real personal assistant will be a big growth, but the companies that will successful in conversational commerce have to cover all three areas. The customer experience, try to implement first proofs of concept, first pilot, and then learn, because there's no one-size-fits-all answer for conversational commerce strategy. It's different if you're a fashion company, or maybe a company like Staples, for example, built a smart speaker on their own with technology partners and put it to the purchasing department of their clients. In the past, the procurement people had to type in the new orders for paper and all that office stuff. And right now they're speaking with a speaker and say, order 300 pages of something. It makes their life easier and makes the relationship to Staples more loyal. But the use case for a fashion company would be completely different. And of course, you need the intelligence, therefore you need a partner. There are not many companies in the world that have world-class artificial intelligence in their portfolio. And then you have to adjust your business operations. That's the things you have to start now about what is your entry and your strategy into the age of conversational commerce if you don't want to be confronted with a much smaller market because people switch to the voice assistant and use them for ordering the stuff. Thank you for your attention. Of course, I'm now open for questions.
Thank you, Achim. Thanks so much. We have a mic coming around, so do you have any questions for Achim right now? Any audience questions? Right over here. Thank you. Can you...
It's not working. Yeah.
Yep.
Thank you for your presentation. What is your expectation of market share between Google and Amazon for the next years?
Yeah, good question. I don't know the exact answer. What I know is that right now Amazon is way ahead because they have been putting the Alexa product family very aggressively into the market, and they're perfect at customer centricity. But on the other side, Google is more accurate, and the artificial intelligence of Google has more answers, which is no wonder because Google has access to more data than any other company in the world. So I wouldn't be surprised if people would use both Amazon for commerce and convenient things, and Google for the more knowledge-based things. But that's just straight from the guts.
Thank you. Any more questions from the audience? Oh, thank you, sir.
In addition to that, couldn't be Google using Alexa one day?
I hope so. That's what the Open Conversational Commerce Initiative is all about. And for example, a competitor of Amazon is Otto in Germany, the second biggest e-commerce player in Germany. You can buy Alexa at Otto because they decided people love Alexa, and if we don't sell it, they will buy it somewhere else. So those are the signs that companies become more open about those boundaries.
Thank you. Any more questions? I see no more hands. I have two questions, and we have the time. So first of all, we've seen almost like a consolidation in the past with some technologies. VHS became the de facto standard, right? We had maybe, I think, I'm not entirely sure, but I think Blu-ray turned out to be the standard in film later on. Is it possible that one of them will just dominate so much that it'll be the standard?
I don't think so. When you look at Blu-ray or VHS, those markets showed all the characteristics of so-called winner-takes-it-all market. If I can get all the Hollywood blockbusters only on VHS, and if all my friends and families use VHS technology, then we can exchange the tapes. But there's no such characteristic in voice, because from a substantial technology point, it's compatible. It's human voice. So there won't be many companies, because it's so hard to invent world-class artificial intelligence. You need billions of dollars to buy all the servers and buy all the programmers that get the world-class algorithms. So there will be something like between 3 or 5 companies. That's my expectation.
Thank you. And then maybe one more question, if we don't have anybody from the audience asking. Yeah, one more here. Thank you. Just all the way, maybe 3rd row from the back, 4th. Thank you.
Thank you for your presentation. I agree with you that conversational commerce will be the next big thing. Also, Robert Lukasky, who gave a speech in another place, agreed with you. My point about Alexa and Google and all these voice assistants is that sometimes it feels quite intrusive when it recommends something. Amazon tried this once with like an ad, where they proposed something and people didn't really like it and they stopped it. And my question is, what are these companies trying in order to appease the customers such that they accept these recommendations?
Yeah, good point. We experienced the same thing when beacons have been introduced a couple of years ago, and then the marketer said, okay, we have a new channel, and they pushed one notification after another, and the customer said, well, I'm annoyed. I put down the app and switch off the Bluetooth. There's a real danger in that. And I'm afraid there will be companies who will use those devices for those purposes, and that won't work. And Amazon already rode on the learning curve and tried to construct real relevance. A personal recommendation can only be useful and personal if relevance is constructed. But there's an advantage that voice has. We've seen it in the data from the consumer survey. Funny results is like more than 90% of the customers at least once said, "Thank you, Alexa." They know that it's an artificial intelligence, it's not a humankind, but voice is so human, and it's what is human is associated with emotional, and so thank you, Alexa. And which is what is even more funny when you look at the data, especially for Germany. We are the most skeptic country in the world when it comes to data protection, which is somehow sensible given 8 decades of dictatorship in Germany, East and West combined. But German consumers trust voice more than typing. Because when you type something, it goes down to your personal file. That's what we're used to. But voice, once you've spoken it, it's gone. This is not rational, of course, but this shows that customers are more sympathetic using the voice channel because it's so human.
Thank you so much. And this is a brilliant transition actually to our next speaker. So I want to thank you so much for coming and inspiring us. Please give a big round of applause. Thanks a lot, Achim.
Thank you.
Thank you.